On the 22nd of March 2014, one of the most gruesome, shocking and horrific discoveries was made in a small community in Ibadan, Nigeria. This community is called the Soka community. The discovery made in this community is one of the most gruesome ones in the history of Nigeria. So it was called the Ibadan Forest of Horror or the Soka Forest of Doom. Inside this forest, over 20 fresh decaying remains of humans were discovered. About 50 human skulls, multiple clothing belonging to men and women believed to be victims of kidnapping were also discovered. Body parts like hands and limbs were seen scattered all over the floor, with flies perching on them, and a horrible smell filled the air. This place was believed to be an organ harvesting site or a ritualist den. Until that day, no one knew or suspected what was happening inside this forest or who was the mastermind. And up till now, no arrest has been made regarding the terror that happened inside that forest. So in this video, I'll bring to you a detailed account of what really happened inside this forest of horror, through the survival stories and how they ended up inside that forest. Meanwhile, please click on the subscribe button to join this channel and turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I drop the next video. You can also give this video a thumbs up. Have you subscribed? Thank you very much for doing that. I'll start with the story of a motorcyclist named Abakuda. And do you know why I chose to start the story with him? It's because he is the reason why this forest was discovered. If not for him, maybe the horrible forest would still be standing and all those terrors still going on inside there. On the 21st of March 2014, Abakuda was called by an acquaintance to help take him to a place around Soka town. He asked him to come as soon as possible because he was in a hurry. When Abba received this call, he was on his way to drop someone else who was also well known to him. So Abba told the other person at the end of the call to please wait for him to drop off the other passenger he was already carrying and come back and pick him, and he agreed. After dropping off the passenger, Abba had this weird feeling. He felt it was already running late and he was scared of traveling alone. So he decided to go pick his cousin to join him on the journey. That way he wouldn't feel alone. The two of them, that's Abba and his cousin, sped off to go pick up the other friend, and together the three of them journeyed to the Soka area. After that night, no one saw Abakuda again. No one could account for his whereabouts. Meanwhile, this happened on a Friday night. So the next day, being Saturday, Abba family became worried when they couldn't find him. So they sent out words to his friends and fellow Okada riders asking if anyone had seen him. Now let me take you back because the story is about to get very scary and the picture about to take shape. For me, I don't really trust the other friend that called Abba to come pick him up. And do you know why? Because when he called Abba, he sounded like he was in a hurry and couldn't wait to get to his destination. But when Abba told him to wait for him because he was already carrying someone, he suddenly agreed to wait, even when he had other choices. Abba wasn't the only motorcyclist in that town. He would have boarded another one, but he chose to wait for him to go drop off someone else, turn around and come back and pick him. I mean, this shouldn't be, especially for someone who stated that they were in a hurry to get to their destination. I also want you to watch this video to the end because you'll notice a pattern of how the survivors of this forest got there through their testimonies. You understand that there's a possibility many of them were sold up by someone close to them. The words of Abba's disappearance got to the first friend he dropped off before going over to pick his cousin to join him to the Soka area. He told his family that someone called Abba when he was on his way to drop him to his destination, asking him to come and take him to the Soka area. He suggested they concentrate their search around Soka town. As they were getting ready to go for the search, a member of Abba's family got a call. This call came from Abba, and he asked him, "Abba, where are you? Where did you go? We've been looking everywhere for you and asking everyone about your whereabouts. Where did you go, and I hope you're alright?" Abba replied and said, "I don't know where I am exactly, and it looks like I've been buried alive." He told them that they were around Soka area the previous night when they were attacked, but he didn't see who attacked them or where they were taken to. After saying this, the call ended. At this point, everyone realized Abba was in serious trouble. They realized it's more than what they thought, so they went over to the police station and filed a missing persons report. Abba's family, friends and other motorcyclists all went in groups in search for him. They all drove to the Soka town. Somewhere along the way, they stumbled upon a bridge built over a small body of water. And down the bridge, they saw a motorcycle ditched by the side of the river. On a closer look, they discovered this motorcycle belonged to Abakuda. This discovery made them to realize they were on the right track and that Abba must be somewhere close. So the group decided to split up, and some followed the path of the river leading inside the Soka forest. As they searched the forest, they called out his name, Abba. Inside the Soka forest are some uncompleted buildings and some residential buildings. Among these buildings, one caught the attention of the group and they decided to go closer. As they approached, they could hear faint cries and voices of people sounding like they were in pain and agony. More like they were saying, "Please give me water. I need water." As they got closer, the voices became clearer. Suddenly, there was a gunshot. So they stopped. They stopped to find out where the gunshot was coming from and who was firing it. Then more gunshots. At this point, the group realized they were being shot at, so they retreated back to the other search group and told them what they discovered. This revelation made the other half of the group to join them in that direction, and this time the police had already arrived at the place. Let me take a few seconds of your time to remind you to please click on the subscribe button to join this channel. I am waiting for you to subscribe. Okay, thank you, and let's go back to the story. Now the whole search party with the police entered the Soka forest, and this time the people shooting at them seemed like they had abandoned the place and ran away. It was more like they were taking unawares and couldn't keep the large crowd off. As they approached, they got another call from Abba. He said, "I can hear footsteps. I think I can hear you people around me. I think you people are very close. I don't know where I am exactly, but I know I am under the ground." This made them realize they were at the right place and very close to rescuing Abba. They broke in and entered the compound. There they discovered the most shocking sight, a hall full of people in captivity. There are men and women tied up and chained to a wall. Instantly they freed all those people and many of them ran away immediately, but they didn't find Abba. They searched more buildings, and in one of those buildings they found decomposing body parts of humans littered all over the place. Skulls of humans, decomposing body parts without heads and some without limbs were seen all over the place. Inside another building, they found clothes, shoes and bags believed to belong to these people in captivity scattered all over the floor. They realized this place would be a horrific den of torture. As all this was happening, a friend was putting a call to Abba. He asked, "Abba, where are you? We are here and have seen people. You rescued people, but we are nowhere to be found. Tell us where you are so we can help you." Abba replied and said, "I can hear you people's voices. I can hear footsteps, but I don't know the exact spot where I was buried. My battery is running low. You just have to dig." Immediately, they started digging. They dug everywhere they thought the soil has been tampered with, but yet they couldn't find Abba. They tried calling him again, but his phone was switched off. The police at the scene realized this is way bigger than what they came for. Who was all these dead bodies lying around? Who is behind this terror? How come all this happened and no one noticed? Some of the dry bones on the floor were so old to show this forest and terror had been existing for many years undetected. They realized they are not just there to rescue one man but to uncover the brain behind this horrible den. The search parties called Abba's number again, but it was still switched off. They dug more holes, but Abba was never found. Up till this day, Abba was never found and his body was never recovered. The surrounding was so big they couldn't trace the exact place where he was buried. It was sad to know Abba died just like that, but it's also comforting to know he died a hero. Abakuda is the reason why the evil forest of Soka was discovered. The police at the scene sent for more reinforcements. More police vans filled the place. Many of the captives at this point had been found and set free. Many of them ran away, but 7 remained. Out of the 7 survivors that remained at the site, one dropped dead and died as soon as he saw people. He looked so malnourished, almost like a living skeleton. The other 6 were also malnourished, to the point they could not move or stand upright. They were immediately taken to the hospital to get treated, regain their sanity back, and be able to narrate how they ended up inside the forest of June and what really happened inside there. From all the testimonies shared by the victims of the forest, I will share some major ones, and one of such is the case of a 72-year-old woman named Cecilia. When she was rescued, at first, she couldn't talk, maybe because she was traumatized. But after treatment and medical evaluation, it was discovered she was sane. Cecilia went missing in December 2008 and was rescued from the forest 2014. That's a gap of 6 years. Cecilia spent 6 years inside the forest in captivity. One of the peculiar things about Cecilia's case is she went missing from her home in Edo State and was found 6 years later inside the forest of Soka. Ibadan is about 6 hours away from Edo State. That's if you are traveling in a very fast vehicle. How did this happen? How did Cecilia go missing in her home in Edo State and found inside a forest in Ibadan 6 years later? She must have been kidnapped, just like I mentioned in the case of Abba and his friend, who called him to come pick him up. Someone close to these people must have sold them off to the kidnappers. Cecilia wasn't traveling when she was kidnapped. She had gone to the market and never returned until her grandchildren saw her in the news as one of the survivors of the Soka Forest of Horror 6 years later. And for Cecilia to be alive inside such horrible place, considering her age, is something of note. She was obviously fed, but the reason why she was taken away from her home and kept in captivity for 6 years is unknown. Her family also disclosed her abductors never called to ask for any ransom for her release till she was found inside the forest. Another survivor of the Igbo forest is a man named Nafiu Shitu. He said the day he was abducted, he was lying down resting after going around to sell his medicine when some group of men posing as government officials showed up. They beat him up so badly while accusing him of violating the environmental law and finally threw him inside a vehicle. He said people saw as those men were manhandling him but went on their businesses. He didn't blame them for looking away because they too must have thought those men are from the government. He further revealed he was the only one paused and placed inside the van, and the next place he found himself was inside the Ibadan Forest of Death. He said he was chained to the wall just like other captives he met inside the Soka Forest. Titi is another survivor of the Ibadan Forest of Death. She was sitting in front of her home when some group of men came to pick her up, saying she was needed somewhere. But the next place she found herself was inside the forest. These people were not kidnapped for ransom, as none of their families were called to pay for their release. The Ibadan Forest of Death either stood as an organ harvesting site or a ritualist den. The people who ran this forest obviously had some agents working for them all over the country. The survivors of this forest were brought from different cities across Nigeria, with thousands of miles separating them. The survivors also revealed victims were brought into the forest daily until it was uncovered. About 50 decomposing bodies of humans were discovered inside this forest. Multiple human skulls, hands and limbs were seen littered all over the place. And up till now, no one has been arrested or charged for the terror that happened inside this forest. According to Nafi and Titi, the abductors always come around to either bring them food or beat them up, and also carry out the dead ones. According to them, they never saw the abductors kill anyone, so they couldn't explain how these people died. Did they die from starvation? Or did they just bring these people to starve to death? Explaining the condition of the dead bodies found inside the forest, it's easy to conclude these bodies seen piled up with their bodies and organs intact obviously died from starvation or abuse. While those skulls and names found littered all over the place were people obviously used for the reason why that forest was standing. These dead people might be victims of organ harvesting or ritual. One question that needs to be answered is how did this atrocity happen for many years undetected? Residents revealed that whenever they passed through that particular spot in the forest, they were always greeted by distant smell they couldn't explain the source. Another point to note is the presence of residential buildings inside this forest. Even an operational plastic factory is close to this horrible place. How come they didn't notice or ask questions for many years until Abba went missing? How come they didn't hear the screams of people just like the search group did? The Soka Forest is not a thick forest that can hide something as horrible as this. It's located on an accessible road people use daily. How come people living close to this den of torture didn't hear the screams of people in agony? It's very suspicious, but one explanation kind of cleared the air. Residents revealed they heard the screams and sensed the smell for many years. Reserved for housing and taking care of bad people. One of the residents also revealed several petitions were written, but they always got the reply that the place was used for taking care of the mentally deranged. I think this is the main reason why this forest of horrors took in operation for many years. And to think these people targeted mentally unstable people and poor people. The reason might be that their family might easily give up on them on their search because of lack of funds. Another survivor is a man named Adewale. He was an IT teacher who came from Lagos to Ibadan. Somewhere along the journey, their boss was hijacked, who threatened them to either conduct or be killed. He said he was taken to the Soka forest together with other passengers of the bus. The father revealed two hefty men beheaded two men brought in together with them right in front of them, and then told them the same fate awaited. With the confession of Adewale, it's possible most of the victims of the Soka forest of horror were brought from outside Ibadan. Because if that much people were missing from one city, residents would definitely want to find out the reason. The next focus is who is to be blamed for the terror that happened inside this forest. These deaths that happened for many years undetected. The Nigerian police sent some detectives to the site to gather forensic details, but before they got there, why was the government so fast building their operation demolished? Just 3 weeks after it was uncovered, Abakuja's body was never found. He's lying dead somewhere inside the forest. Many people went to the forest, some from very far away cities, in search of their missing loved ones, but military personnel were kept stationed at the entrance of the forest to keep people from entering. Just like I stated earlier, up till now, no one has been arrested or charged for the terror that happened inside this forest. It's more like it was swept under the carpet. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button to join this channel. And what do you think about all that happened inside this forest? Who do you suspect will be behind the terror that happened inside this Soka forest of death? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. See you in my next video.